And welcome everybody. Welcome to Bitches Brew, being assisted by
Hello.
my wonderful husband Bob from Globebusters on the technical. This is my first time hosting the show, so everybody bear with me. Bitches Brew is a wonderful traveling show. It's the sisterhood of the traveling pants, really. A way for all of us to gather, change channels, share our strengths, what we do well, and bring other people into our strengths and be brought into their strengths by them sharing. It's a gathering of strengths, and tonight's show is magic. The gathering, the magic that we feel when we get together, when we touch, when we gather. How important it is to everything we do, and how it touches us all, and how it energizes us all. Just want to welcome everybody in. Oops.
You're right.
Oops, I'm sorry. I'm watching my husband play with the screen. I am all right, and I want to, first off, welcome everybody. I am Cami Aisling 717. Many of you guys know me as being married to Bob at Glowbusters. Many of you know me through my own little passions on how the world works, my total geekiness with magnets and with anything rocks, nature, anything with really watching how the world creates. Along with me tonight, I have Karen B, Steffi, Beth, Martin, Steffi P, Rose 777, and Jen the Truth Seeker. And I want each one of them to say a little bit about what they do, what they bring with their channel, and what's important to them. And we're going to start with the Truth Seeker 69, Jen. Welcome. We don't hear you,
Hi, thanks
Jen.
for having me. I love being here with you ladies.
Oh, we hear you now.
My
Yep.
oh, no, you can't hear me? Okay. All right. So I'm happy to be here. My channel is just it's raw and in your face.
I wanted to put her up.
And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch.
Wanted to
Oh,
put her up. I wanted to highlight her.
am I
There we
still
go.
here?
Yeah, she's still here.
Yes, you hit remove. Don't hit remove.
We didn't hit
It's
remove. You're
kind
still there.
of you don't have to highlight me.
Okay, we can take her back. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so
I'm learning in the background.
anyway, I'm kind of raw
You removed
and in
somebody
your
though.
face with my channel. I'm very blunt.
You removed Rose.
Yeah.
And
Oops.
One second.
oh, Rose is gone. Yeah.
We've got Rose gone right now, and we have Jen. I have you locked up. Rose, if you can join the show again. I'm not sure what happened.
I
That's
think
very.
Rose dropped out. I
You think
don't
she
I
dropped
don't
it?
think she removed if she's not backstage, then she probably dropped. And she'll
Okay.
be back if she
Okay.
can get back.
Okay, Jen. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Jen.
Oh no, it's all good. You don't have to highlight me neither. I could just stay right here. I'm good.
All right.
Now I cover a variety of topics on my channel, and I'm all about getting the truth out there, confronting people, bringing it right to their faces and seeing what they think about things. Mandela effect. I was very forward with that, interviewing people. Um, as far as what's happening right now, I do more of venting my
Stay like
frustrations than anything
Uh-huh.
so
because
nobody
it is
else
just so
Okay.
unbelievably frustrating and
those are exclusive.
it's just undeniable. It's ludicrous what's happening right now in the world. So if you're interested in those kind of topics, like
Right.
melted buildings and his story being one big lie and all that stuff, and seek truth seeking, just come to my channel. If you don't like it, that's okay too.
That sounds good. Thank you, Jen. You are like truly, truly somebody wonderful to have in this community. I look so forward to meeting you. Picking your brain. You do
Oh, I
so
can't
many.
wait to meet you. I'm so excited.
Next, we're gonna go to Beth Martin. Somebody I love, very close to. Beth, I was on your show yesterday. Was that yesterday?
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you so much for having me there. And anybody wanting to see that, check out Beth Martin's channel. And Beth, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, thanks, Kemi. That was super fun. Oh, I get to be big now. So,
I
yeah,
know.
that was amazing. Actually, Kemi, that was a very popular interview. So you should go to my channel and check it out. We talked about the Sky Mirror, and I'm a cosmology, not like newbie is a really stupid way to say that, but I could never relate to a not flat Earth model, so I never bothered with it much. And so I wanted her to walk me through all the ins and outs of this really amazing stuff. It was very high. We got great feedback from people. And so I am a business and archetype coach. I help people on their hero's journey and sometimes to turn it into a livelihood, especially these days when people are losing their jobs and not seeing a path forward. It might be that they're needing to take their own path forward to be valued for that. So my channel is to actually highlight those people that are doing that, who are out there, and especially the truthers on the front line saying the things that nobody wants to say, those king heroes, whether they're men or women, who are putting themselves on the line, such as a lot of people in good company here. So definitely check out my channel for that interview from yesterday with Cami and a whole bunch of other inspiring stuff.
Oh, thank you. Love, Beth, having you as one of the bitches. Love talking to you on so many different levels. Our newest bitch, Steffi P. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for showing.
So, yeah, my channel, I haven't really gotten content up. I'm just sort of wandering around, joining some other people. Like Brian and I have recently done, like, I think almost 30 videos from California, just sharing our experiences going out on the to different places, beaches, restaurants, kind of doing some on the street. We did some on the street interviews and just a lot of traveling around to show people what was going on throughout this Corona thing, and just showing what's real outside, and as opposed to what people were seeing in their news and hearing on social media. So that's about it for now.
Steffi, every single video you do, every single person you talk to, everything matters. And again, that's what's so great about this show is we have a slice of all different aspects of what everybody does. And it's so nice to have you here. And thank you again for joining. We're gonna go to Rose 777. Rose, can you hear us? I show you're muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Rose, welcome.
Hello, my friends. Good evening to you.
So nice to have you here. We know you've had a busy week. Why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you've been up to?
Okay, I am Rose 777, and what I've been up to, I'm in Miami right now with Jason, and well, he's helping with all of the sound audio stuff, and he's also helping with a lot of other stuff for a documentary on germ theory. And Dr. Kaufman is here, and Sayer G. I don't know if anyone remembers Sayer G from episode 226. But yeah, it's I haven't been there that much for the filming, but it seems to be going very smoothly, and it's just really busy.
I know you have been. I'm so glad that we didn't know if you were going to make it tonight, and I know you've been missing a lot of the different shows, and I'm so happy that you joined us and we can have our whole bitch group together. Our final busy bitch,
Yeah.
super duper busy, amazing bitch. Let's go on to Karen B. What have you been doing and what is coming up?
Well, I've been doing my normal things that I do, which is Tuesdays. I co-host Strange World with Mark Sargent on TFR Tuesday evenings. And then Thursdays, I do Unveiling This Realm with Brian Stavely, and we alternate our channels on that. And in addition to this show, and what's coming up is Flatoberfest, which is an event I'm putting on that is taking place in Greenville, South Carolina, this next Saturday. It's almost here.
I
Yeah.
can't wait.
So that's what I do. Yeah. And what I talk about on my channel is, of course, Flat Earth, all things in and around that. And also, I like to talk about taking responsibility for your own health, for your own happiness, taking responsibility for the education of your children, which is something I just recently took on, and also becoming independent, and not letting yourself become subject to this beast system. That's what I like to talk about.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I cannot believe Flattoberfest is less than a week away.
So
I know.
excited.
Like I put my patch on my favorite flannel woods. You know, this is what I wear around
It
my
looks good.
property.
I love it.
Yeah, it looks great.
So we have all of the things coming up and everything that it entails at Flattoberfest. Karen, we're
Hmm.
talking. I think we're gonna like talk a little bit about what meetups do and bring to the table, and then towards the end, I want to focus on Flattoberfest. I have a beautiful slideshow put together from last year's Flattoberfest by Scuba Dracula, showing a journey to Flattoberfest. I think that we'll end the show
Yeah.
with. And I definitely want to go into talking about Flattoberfest more. I also want to talk about magnetics a little bit because I know that on the last Bitches group for people that were watching, and I had everybody with scared looks on their faces on it talking about magnetics and electricity and gave people assignments. If you did the assignment, that's fine. If you didn't, it's even better because the whole point of the assignment with the magnetics was to say that they can confuse you with so many words when it really, really is a simple topic. And so that's another thing we're going to cover a little bit more into the show. But we're going to start off with just talking about. I'm going to put Karen B on the spot because I love doing that. And we're going to talk about. I have questions for everybody a little bit on what meeting up and gathering, just really getting together, what it means and what it brings to your life. And Karen B, actually, not only what it brings to your life, but what different effects it has. And it has physical effects. It has very physical effects. It has electromagnetic effects. I'm going to start with physical and magnetic effects and show off our panel host of brilliant ladies. Karen B is going to tell us what electromagnetic results it has on your body, your soul, and how what it means to touch people in person as far as physically.
um, Touching people physically.
Yes, we want their magnetic fields. We want the technical for
Right.
you, Karen B.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, yeah, your heart generates an electromagnetic field. Everybody's got an electromagnetic field, and it is surrounding your body in the, in the form of electromagnetic field, which you can see here. This is one. Okay. Right. So imagine
Perfect.
that right in here, right, is your, well, my finger won't go there, but right there in the middle, that's where your heart is, and then your head's up here and your feet are down here. And if you put your arms out around you, that's your field going around you. And then you see it goes in at the top and out at the bottom. So it's going in and it's going out. And it's always doing that. It's a reciprocal motion, right? So you're uploading and you're downloading constantly, taking information and also bringing information out. And it's the way that when you meditate that you re-energize yourself. You expel the negative energy and you take in the positive energy. And whenever you get into a room full of other people who have these really good vibration fields, because they're, thinking about all the same things you are, they know what life's all about, they know what's really important, they know what we're all here to do, and everybody's in the same place to do the same thing that you are, to think about the same things and talk about the same things, and you're all in love with the same things. And so when you get together, everybody's field is amplifying, and the energy in the room is just intense, and you start, I don't know, everybody has so much energy, nobody wants to sleep, everybody's talking, everybody's alert, everybody's looking around, everybody's smiling, everybody's happy, and you're just soaking it all in.
It's magic. It
It's
truly,
magic.
it truly
But
is
that's where
magic.
the word magic comes from, right? Magnetism, magic, right? Electromagnetic
Magnet.
magnetism.
Thank you,
You know,
Karen B. Yes, keep going. It is. It's your field around you. It touches others. It extends 6 feet beyond you. Isn't that wonderful how they say that we need to keep that type of distance from each other because the distance they want us to keep from each other is the distance that we need to bounce off, to interact, to feel the fields. Karen put the flow of the Taurus and everything so beautifully. Rose, I'm going to put you on the spot and talk about like the spark when you meet somebody. What about when you fall in love, when you meet somebody in person, the sparks that fly, um, the feeling that you get, Rose? Have you ever had that?
It's what makes life worth living,
Living.
Cami.
I had a
For
feeling.
sure. No, I absolutely love being around people, and the only thing that sucks is that when there's really large groups of people, you feel like you don't get enough time with everyone individually. But it is cool because then, like, when you meet people in person, you realize, like, oh my gosh, I knew that person's face and I knew that person's name, but that person in particular, like, now I like get them in a different way. I really feel them as a human being, and I think it is cool to find out who you resonate with maybe more than others. I mean, not everybody is going to be best friends. And I just think it's really cool when you check the vibe. You know what I mean? You check the vibe, and there's going to be hundreds of people there. And who knows? Like, these are the
Oops.
kinds of friendships that begin and change lives. Like, me meeting Jason at the Free Your
Yeah.
Mind conference changed my life, right?
I
Kind
knew
of.
it did. I knew it did. And it was like meeting him and that spark and the things that happened. And it can happen over Zoom or it can happen a little bit over videos. You can have kind of a vibe with people and you can get a feeling, but you don't get the electrical jolt. I mean, the jolt. You don't. We were talking during Beth's show yesterday about an analog world versus the digital world, and we were taking it into
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different contexts. And so, Beth, another way that we could put that into context is saying that a digital world, literally, that when you're looking with people and they say you need to interact through Zoom meetings, you need to interact through YouTube, you need to interact always through social media. I think all of us are going to agree that you're missing a piece. You're missing a
Yeah.
huge, huge piece.
You know what I was going to say, Cami?
Please.
In response to what Karen was saying, about like the importance of human touch in the biofield, I have this like theory, and I want to know what you guys think of it. When I used to help out in nursing homes, and I would just always like try to touch people's hands and look into their eyes while I was talking to them and like make them laugh or show them that me being in their presence made me feel good. Like I wanted to show them that. And sometimes they like couldn't really keep their eyes on you, and there's just really no way to tell if they like you, if they actually do like you being there. It's like you kind of just have to roll the dice and be like, I really do think that talking to people, and I'm talking about people that are like basic, not like total vegetables, like they don't need machines keeping them alive, but they just their brain is still catching up because of an injury, right? They're trying to get back in touch with each other. So I think that keeping them around, and even if people think that they're not there, you keep them at the dinner table, and you might feel like you're being a freaking crazy person talking to someone who's not talking back. But I have a theory that when they say they're not coming back, that if you just keep doing that and you just take them with you everywhere, and I don't know, maybe it'll feel like you're like really weird, but if you do it, I think that they might be able to get better, and it's because of this biofield frequency and everyone's belief in that person being a human. What do you guys think?
I
Wishful
agree.
thinking?
No, I think we'll let other people do that. I think you're right on that. I think people, in order to live, they need a reason to live. And if you're completely disconnected, when you let yourself go, you let yourself disconnect. You don't want people near you, you don't want your fields, and you don't and you're letting yourself go. You're letting yourself escape all of the magic of feeling. And you're slowly, the way I see it is you're slowly bringing them to feel again. And I don't think anything could be really kinder than what you're doing in this world. I mean, serious, serious kindness. You're offering hope. And sometimes we lose hope. And I think that's one of the goals that they're out to go is the losing of hope, with the quarantining and the separation of things, and separating us from our family and friends in the hospital when they really need us the most and they're at their weakness. Any other thoughts? I just took that over entirely from Rose, but anybody else's thoughts on what she said?
I agree with her though.
Mhm.
I think so. I think
Now,
it does make a difference
I
for
think,
sure.
yeah, I think it makes a huge difference. I think, like, in different strengths and reaching out. Rose, I don't know if you could be more powerful than that on a one-to-one. Jen and Steffi P, you're my little warriors, that both of you. I'm not sure which one we're going to start with this, because you guys both do so much work out there to have, like, people, same with you, Rose, too, on the not wearing the mask, to reach out, to hug, to go out and do this, and the strength of, again, everybody has got their own niche, but I'm so glad we have warriors. We have warriors, and we have strong women on our panel. Jen, the truth seeker, I have to say, every time I see you on a show and you go to the comments, I see Jen is so sexy. I see it time and time again. And do you know how that makes me smile? Because it's like, you know what? Nothing is sexier than a strong woman. And Jen, you are a strong woman. You fight for what you see that people need, and you don't really look at yourself at all. You fight for the things. And so, what's it like fighting for the feeling of having gatherings? Because really, in a way, that's when it comes down to it, you're fighting for that freedom.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know the way they say that the parasites feed off of our energy, or when they keep us down and in a low vibrational frequency. When we are together and gathering, we're feeding off of that energy. It's been deprived from us because we're so few and far between and scattered throughout that coming together. Even I get so excited just to come on these panels and come together this way, but to actually touch you guys and hug you guys and exchange our breath with each other, the breath of life, that kind of energy. I'm getting chills just talking about it right now. I can't imagine how I'm going to be next weekend.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm super excited, and it's so important. And you can see with the 6 foot rule and the masking, well, they have to keep the masks up because without the masks, nobody's going to buy anything that's going on. So the only way that they can condition people to comply is using this masquerade tactic, and that's draining people of their energy. All the time, I get people today, even in the store, they're just. I walk in, no problem. There's a guy standing in front of me, and he's like a younger guy, really good looking. I think he was good looking. This is what I said to him. I said, "Oh," I said, "you look like you might be handsome, but I can't tell because you got that mask on." So he pulled it down. But, just to try to exchange that energy with somebody to see how they feel about things, or, to vent my frustrations a little and find that the people around me with the masks on actually agree with me. But I always try to get them to go to that next step, to that next level. If you know it's a joke, it's not working or whatever, it's bullshit, take it off. And that's what I want to see people do. I want to see people take off the mask and breathe and hug and shake hands and gather and stuff. And the more that they take that away from us, um, the more that we need to fight back and make it happen. I tell everybody, if they tell you to stay in, go the hell out. If they tell you to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. If they tell you to get a vaccine, you need to not get a vaccine at all. So it's always the opposite from what they're telling us is what we need to be doing. And I rally against the system every chance I get. I'm not down with the system at all.
Right on, sister.
Whoop, whoop. I'm bringing a big thing of fireball with me.
With rallying
Oh,
against the system, you're rallying for all of us. I mean, you really are. Steffi P, you are out on the streets, one on one, going, talking to people, trying to interact, going into places, going into restaurants, doing every airport, you name it. You're there interacting and keeping the action going. What's it like out there?
Yeah. First, I just want to say 100% so agree with what Jen said about, how it ties into the energy. if people only knew, I mean, there's so many people, we've been made to believe that we are, just not really, energy is first. So we don't realize that that's what we're connected to. That's what drives us. We're connected to the outside world. We are, in a way, all one. And when we go out, that's why they have the stage scenes at the restaurants that are set up that way. That's why they have to keep the stickers on the floor with the plexiglass and the plastic hanging everywhere, the masked workers everywhere. They're fine to let people go outside their house as long as they make sure that they set the stage everywhere so that people are continually exposed to the visuals. Because even the people that think that this is helping, that even the people that are in fear, even the people that it doesn't matter, the constant exposure to it is so negative and it is so like low vibrational. So by going out there and doing the best you can to not be part of that and to what people don't realize is that when people see the normalcy, no matter who it is, it's always better for them energetically. Um, I see the kids smile at us when they see us with no mask on. And, you know, I don't know what to say. It's just, it's, I can't even, I can't even describe how sadly low vibrational this
It
all
is.
is. And it is about the exposure, the continual exposure to it everywhere. And that's why whenever you can not wear a mask, whenever possible, do it.
I
Don't
think
do
you
it, I
said a
should say.
lot when you said about the kids smiling and you being able to smile back and what that brings to the table, even. Vibration is everything. We're in a vibrational universe. Vibration is everything. And this is a time of harvest. This is a time of joy. This is a time of rejoicing. And we need to remember and bring some of this back on the table. Beth
Mhm.
Martin, are you ready to be on the hot spot? I saved a special one for you.
Okay, great.
Wait, before you move on, can I just
Sure.
tell a little story that happened to me today, Steffi, that what you just said reminded me of about the children? Today, Brian and I went shopping in a grocery store and we weren't wearing a mask. And I swear everybody in there was wearing a mask. It seemed like there was a lot of masks in there.
Yeah,
And there was a boy that was walking with his family and he looked over and he looked at me and I smiled at him and I could tell under his, I could tell that that made him happy that I smiled at him and he could see somebody smile at him. 'Cause everybody in
yeah,
there had a mask and everybody that looked at me, I just smiled at them because that's what they
yep,
need to see. They need to see other people smiling at
yes.
them because that's what they're freaking missing.
Good point.
Yeah, can I
Sorry, go
interject
ahead.
something?
Yes, please.
So I was out today. I had to go to the Dollar Tree, and I walked in, and this old guy with a mask on looked at me, but he didn't look at me nice. He looked at me with the stink eye, and I've been getting that lately. And I just turned around and looked right back at him, and I didn't smile. I just said, "What the fuck are you looking at?" So, I mean, it just depends on what mood I'm in. But like, I just look back at them like, how dare you look at me with that type of judgment look, or they'll point to their face like, where's your mask, bitch? I'm like, no, I don't play Saint and says. Sorry. But
Well,
yeah, that
yeah,
makes
no,
me feel good though.
it does make, and we, you know what, we change by interacting with these people and smiling and the children and pulling up the mask. We really do change the world one person and one action at a time. And it's important to remember, Rose, you know better than anybody, just the huge difference just the tiniest effort can make. Can you imagine what we could do if we really did everything we can and interact and talk with people and bring them on? And again,
Yeah.
each piece counts. Every single
Kimmy,
piece counts.
you're right.
You're
So
right.
right.
I know. We can change the world, and we can. We are bitches, and we are strong. Beth
And
Martins.
I wish that people would also understand that all the buzzwords and the phrases that they use too are low vibrational, like no contact all the time, no contact delivery. Isn't that wonderful? The social distance and, you know, quarantine, you know, every word that they keep throwing out there and try to make it fashionable to say, to throw around me and support this system that creates these horrible, dehumanizing environments. And every time I hear people use those words now, I just call them out. You know, like someone on Facebook today said, "Oh, I've been meaning to ask you about someone else, how your quarantine's been going." And, you know, I'm like, I can't believe people are still doing this after 7 months. They're, you know, like, how's your quarantine? Like, why does it make you feel so virtuous and special just to use those words? That's what I don't understand. They're dehumanizing, and every time you share them with people, you're participating in that.
You know what
And
it is,
it's
Stephanie?
sickening.
You know what it is, Steffi? It's a trend. They've gotten people sucked into trends and those key trendy words and stuff like that. And people want to be all inclusive and they love to be a part of something. And it's like it's media. It's the media magic that's doing it. If without the TV and any of the
Yeah.
media, nothing's going on. They
Yeah,
You
but
don't want them to think that
they're
you don't
sharing
care about
toxic
people.
words. The words, the little key. I understand that they think it's cool. There are, you know, I see the fashion in all of this. They love it. They love to fit in, but they're actually using toxic, dehumanizing words
Well,
constantly.
I have to tell you this. A little girl came to my door the other day. She was doing something for school. I guess it was like the cookie things and stuff. And her and my neighbor, this little 5-year-old girl, had a mask on, and I'm out there out front with them. And I was looking at this little girl talking to her, and they were all close to me too, filling out the paper, no social distancing, but they both had their masks on. And it was a beautiful day yesterday. And I'm just like, this generation's growing up in this, learning these words as a part of life. Like they're learning and being indoctrinated right into this low vibrational frequency of like drone mentality. It's insane. And I think that's what most of this is geared towards. We think that we're being reconditioned, but it's really the children, this generation coming up, because the school system's being completely redefined right now. And they are re educating our kids. They have us re educating our kids by having them put these masks on and tell them what's going on and explain to them, this is what you have to do and all this stuff. They'll never know life without this. It's insane.
It is.
Crazy.
So I was going to tell a story, if it's okay, about the gathering and that phenomena of actually meeting people in person, which is going the way of the dodo. And I had twice as many people in my house as is, and I don't even want to use the word, but as is recommended by the powers that really shouldn't be. And so that was a bit dodgy. And then even the purpose of meeting, I can't really say that out loud. You guys probably get a sense of what it's about. And it was fascinating because I didn't know maybe half of them, at least. I had never met half of them. And I was literally saying, okay, look around. If there's somebody that nobody knows, we should know about that. And with the whole pandemic thing, I've been in a lot less contact with the people that I knew, like my family, and friends that vacated, and so they're not on the scene anymore. They're scared to actually meet in person, and that kind of thing is an issue. But now I'm meeting so many people I don't know, but people like, in a way, yourselves, that are tuned into the truth. They've been for years already looking into this stuff, and when we meet, it's really interesting because there's a way deeper connection than sometimes with people that you've known your whole life. And
Yeah.
and it's fascinating because there's a whole issue of trust, right? Like, you don't know who people are, you don't know what you're running into. We're doing a Zoom call with somebody who's had a lot of accusations against him, and we can't necessarily vouch for him, but we're fact finding, we're looking for information. So it's so crazy around the idea, around the connections and navigating around trust. And it's been an ongoing theme. I did a video at my channel about the naive way we want to be able to just put ourselves in somebody's hands and trust them, and call it a day, with never having to use your own senses and really pay attention, and be present and be loving, but not necessarily give over to people, or trust them ultimately. So that's my sense of gathering now. They've got us used to not gathering for a lot of years already. There's a growing trend towards people doing their own thing, I've worked personally. I've worked virtually and connected more internationally than I have locally. Although that's changed now because of the circumstances. I'm connecting with a vengeance and talking to. When they say don't you know talk to people, I'm talking to everybody, all the strangers. And it's comical on the one hand, but it is the food that we need to go and just look. I was at the grocery store, speaking of masks. So the grocery store that I've never been asked to wear a mask at, and it was like one of my last three places I can go in the city. So finally I go in, and the owner walks up to me and says, I'm going to have to ask you to wear a mask. And I said, oh, what do you think about that? And he said to me, I think it's bullshit. And he said, but if you just tell me anything about an exemption, anything like that. And I said, oh, yeah, that's right. I have an exemption. And then we had a big, long half an hour conversation outside the store after that. And he's like, yeah, I know all of this stuff is not right. And, that connection would have never happened if I wasn't on this mission to connect. So it is really important. I'm so glad you guys are getting together at Flattoberfest. I'm going to be there in spirit 100%.
Beth,
And
Beth, we're gonna have you there in spirit, 100%. I'm gonna have special hugs like held out for you, and I can't wait for the day that
oh,
we really, really can embrace in person because I know how ever nice. I mean, and I do. You're one of those people I really, really connect to over this media, and yet I know how much more amplified the feeling would be in person, and I feel it. I mean, I just I'm longing for it. I cannot wait for next weekend for Flattoberfest. One of the things I wanted with you, Beth, was is spirituality. We haven't talked much about it with the coming together, but even like whenever two or more of you are gathered in his name, spirituality can be many things, not necessarily religion, but it comes up all of the time. And you work with the King's Hero journey and the different people. What is the coming together? What does it mean to you, like on a spiritual level? What?
yeah, actually, it's a great question. I often say that there is no purpose without connection, right? You can't sit in your living room alone, and I don't care how much you create or how much you accomplish. There is no without connection, there is no purpose. It will feel empty, and you won't be on your hero's journey, right? That hero's journey is where you're going to be not only slaying your own demons and dragons, but doing it for the purpose of bringing that elixir back to the people. So that's why it's so beautiful when everybody, or not everybody, but when anyone can get out, have the bravery of speaking their truth and sharing their knowledge and doing it in exactly their way. That's why it's so beautiful. All of you different women, the way that you put your truth out is very unique, and it's your thing, and it wouldn't be what it is if you weren't in this place of sharing it. So that's my take on the the spiritual side of connection. That it's and I also do want to just speak for the possibility to always transcend the distance or the space, because as long as I can definitely get into longing for to see you guys next week. That's not a stretch, but I can also just feel the connection that is, and be with that, and get enormous satisfaction. And I would jump in my car if I didn't have to fight my way through everything and face the shame and the quarantine and all the bullshit of being split up from my son for 2 weeks after I get back. Then the drive would be no problem. I drove 60 hours to upstate New York, and I would
Wow.
certainly come to North Carolina because it's the thing to do. I remember my brother-in-law was shaming me for going to upstate New York, and he was thinking like, oh well, as if I'm a teenager and I just want to go party with my friends. And he's like, yeah, I know you must be really lonely like this. And I'm going like, nope, I'm not lonely at all. I'm busy as fucking crazy, and it really engaged with people. I didn't go because I was lonely. I went because there is something that happens in person that is the magic of magnetism.
Yeah.
So it's worth heroic
Exactly.
measures.
That's funny because oh, Cammy,
Oh,
you're
I'm
muted.
sorry, I was muted. I was just going to say that being rich in the type of friendship that we have is such the opposite of loneliness. It's again, and go ahead and Karen, I'm sorry to step on you too, but it is such the complete opposite of loneliness, and I feel sorry for anybody that would see it in that way. But the knowing like all of these people are out here to talk to experience, to learn from, to touch, to feel, and again, the interactions you can have in person, which are so good. I'm sorry for them. I'm sorry for your family and what they're missing out with. What a beautiful person you are, Beth. I really is their loss.
Hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Karen B, what did I step on you with?
Oh, what was I gonna say?
Something about Flattoberfest?
No.
Something about
Quarantine. Something about Beth having to separate from her son.
Oh yeah, you were talking about driving to Oh, that's right. I know what I was gonna say. When I did an interview, I don't know, it's probably a couple of years ago now, a year and a half ago, with BBC, the woman asked me, "Is it lonely being a flat earther?" And I was like, "No, it isn't lonely." I'm like, "Man," and it's on my channel. That video got thousands and thousands of views, but because I called it "Interview with a Dumb Flat Earther." Eh, but yeah, but I was like, "No, it's great." I said, "I've got the best friends I ever had. They're all smart. Everybody's intelligent. Every conversation I have actually has meaning." I said, "No, man, this is great. I have the best people in my life that I've ever had since I've been in this. No, it's not lonely.
Well, that's a thing that
It's great."
Absolutely.
it's a threat when you speak the truth. I can see people that are fully alert to everything going on, but they're very aware that their people are going to attack and leave them. And if you don't take that leap into authenticity, and you'll never find your own people.
Hmm.
You'll always be stuck. You'll have to tell that lie your whole life
Hmm.
in order to maintain those relationships. So where does it end? Where do you start actually
Well,
being yourself?
every time I start to doubt whether or not I'm in the right place and around the right communities, I just go out and look around me and look at the other people and see what they're talking about, and you're reminded why you're here. Like uh, the very, I mean, politics and all the mainstream things, the small talk, their limitations. They just can't speak off the script for the
Hmm.
most part. I'm not saying everyone's like that, but yeah, I just go back and I look at these people and what they're talking about on Facebook, and they're not even aware of their own, how very, boring and limited it is. This is a very interesting community, because flat Earth is. I tell people all the time, not necessarily about flat Earth. Not everybody is a flat earther in the flat Earth movement. They just it's just a wonderful place to be, and the people are amazing, and everyone's got their own things. Some people believe certain things, others believe others, but I still think it's an amazing community.
It is. It's something going through. Did we lose Karen B? She's not there.
Can
Or
I
Karen B.
interject?
Please, Jen.
So at the start of your conversation with Beth, you mentioned where two or more gather in my name, and it triggered me immediately. And I saw Stavely got triggered as well. It states now in the Bible that where two or three gather in my name, it's not two or more. Two or more is two and however many, infinity. But it's limited now in the Bible. It's a Mandela effect, and it says where two or three gather in my name. And isn't it interesting that here we are now, so many, maybe a year or so later from that Mandela effect change. I don't know exactly when it changed, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, but and here we are now where we're not allowed to gather, and if we do gather, it has to be like two or three people, and that's it. And then, so it's almost like the Mandela effect definitely is playing into what is happening, what we see going on right now in our society, and where we're being led to. And I think it's a really interesting time to be alive. It's nothing to fear. We're all riding this ride through it. Okay, we're all on the same train here. It just depends on what level of the train you're at, I guess. But definitely, there's a Mandela effect there, where it used to say, where two or more gather in my name, two or more. That could be any number. That could be like 50,000 or 100,000 or millions, or it could be, five or six. But now it's limited. So I just wanted to point that out, and maybe we can talk more about how some of these changes. Which another one I want to explain real quick. Brian Staveley always said this. He said that he feels the changes to the body are preparing us for something that's coming. That maybe we're getting armored up or something inside, or it's changing for something that's coming along that our bodies aren't going to be normally used to, and that now we'll be able to survive whatever could be possibly coming into our bodies. Isn't it interesting how all these people got through all these months with these masks on without passing out and dying and from breathing in their own CO2 all this time? Maybe the heart shifting over, and you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
It just triggered me. Yeah, because I just recently heard some people saying, and I was saying, I can't believe these people aren't dead yet. And I'm not trying to be mean, but
Dude,
I mean, through all
in the South, in summer,
and everything,
when it's humid and hot,
yes.
I'm like,
I mean,
get that shit off your face.
What
I
the
can't even look
hell?
at you with it on your face.
I know. And then I remember Brian saying, "Oh, well, the body changes could be because of this. Maybe we're getting prepared for something." And I just couldn't figure how that factored in. I just, filed away in the back of my head. But now it's like in hindsight, two or three gather in my name, all these body changes, something's definitely happening. And it's on a supernatural level.
Hey, Jen.
What we're seeing. Go ahead.
I just want to jump in really quick and respond to the two or more versus the two or three. When I first heard about that, I thought that maybe it was like the changes reflecting that we're living in like a commerce world, like the whole court system and that artificial construct, and how that reflects the whole idea of getting two or three witnesses, like in terms of a notary for like affidavits and stuff. So maybe that does go along the lines of what Brian was saying, because it's more solution oriented to try and fight back for this particular beast system. Because the thing that scares me the most about all the Mandela effects is the Lion and the Lamb, because I feel like it's so creepy and wrong for the wolf to be there. And so it's like we need to like fight back against these changes. These changes are not natural, not with nature, and even though they're supernatural, it's a reflection of the unnatural changes that man is trying to do. And I don't know, I'm just rambling here, but yeah, that's the first thing I thought when I heard about the two or more thing.
Absolutely. It's definitely a reflection of things that we're living through right now.
That's not a plug for social distancing?
Yeah.
That's how I'm reading it. It's Matthew 18:20. I just looked it up.
Read it for us, Beth.
So again, I tell you truly that if two of you on the earth agree about anything you ask for, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. For where two or three gather in my name, there I am with them. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother who sins against me? Up to 7 times? That's the context anyway. So yeah, I was totally shocked to find that it's not saying two or more, because I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've always heard two or more. This was, Jen, thank you, by the way. Yeah,
Yes.
I always thought two or more, so this was a new one on me that you brought to it, so thank you. Any other comments on there? I'm still kind of like, that's mind-blowing, Beth, and thank you for reading it. We want to have more than two, more than three. We're going to gather a lot of people in our names and in our joy and in our, and for people like Beth, I understand you can't, but we're going to also ask you to be there in spirit and also gather with who you can up in Canada. I mean, just have join us, have a party there, looking at our meetup there. Karen B., can you tell us about what's coming up, when, how, the Friday night? I know you've been doing this. I think you had a wonderful video, if you even wanted to play it, that listed where the meetup was and into Flattoberfest and the speakers. If that's easier for you, are you able to play that?
I could play it. I just have to bring it up. I don't have it up right this second. But yeah, we are having a meetup on Friday, the day before the event. Nathan, who's been helping me with this the entire time.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Nathan. Shout out to Nathan, who's commercial sound and video there in the chat if you see him. But he went ahead and rented the gazebo. Okay, so let me hear. Oops. He went ahead and rented the gazebo, and from 4 to 9 p.m. So I have my screen share there. If you want to put it up, I can play it.
Okay, I think I did it.
Okay, there we go. Good day, everyone. This is a video to let you know what is going on the day before Flattoberfest. So this is all about what's going to be happening on Friday, the day before Flattoberfest. We are having a meetup. I'm going to change this to satellite view. Okay, we're having a meetup across the street from the Greenville Shrine Club and Event Center where we are having the event. Okay, this right here is downtown Greenville. This is where most of the, this is where most of the hotels are. Okay, that I listed on the website for people to stay at. Some of you found some other ones that are around here. There's some less expensive ones. There are some Best Westerns. They're around. Okay, Greenville's a big city. There's a lot of hotels there. Okay, this is where this event center is. Okay, it's up here on the outskirts of Greenville proper. Okay, so here's 85. 85 is the major highway that runs north and south through the area. So here's the event center here. Across the street, this is where we're going to be meeting up. Herdklotz Park. Okay. It says open till 8 p.m. Friday, we have this big gazebo reserved here. Okay. This gazebo here, it's got electricity, bathrooms, barbecues, everything we'll need to hang out there for a while. Lots of parking, as you can see right here. And it is right across the street from the event center. So this at the park from 4 to 9 p.m. Okay. After that, we can you can either disperse, go back to your hotels, go meet up elsewhere, whatever y'all want to do, or right across the street is the event center. On Fridays, they have the bar open and they have karaoke. So if one chooses, you can go across the street after we're hanging out at the park and have our meetup from 4 to 9 p.m. and you can come here and you can, check the place out. We won't be where we're actually having the event because that's in the ballroom upstairs. The bar they own and operate is downstairs. Looks like this probably might be the entrance right here in the front. But so you can go there. When you go to the event, however, the entrance is here, right here. You'll see it. It's got a big covered walkway with 2 sets of double doors there to get in. Okay, there's a ramp and stairs and everything going to the main entrance. And then you'll go to the right, and in this big room is where we are having the event. And there's a kitchen there and a bar. Okay, so there's going to be food available to buy there. They have a pretty good menu. I talked with the woman there. She's really sweet. They have vegan and vegetarian dishes that they serve there. And they do have like chicken salads and chili dogs and stuff like that. But it's an actual kitchen where they're actually cooking real food. It's good food. So there's that. Also, Dr. Law says he's bringing his wok. So he's going to be doing some stir fry. Okay. I probably will get some other snacks and stuff to have there for people to grab from. I'll probably have a free snack table. Then there are 2 So there will be food and drink there. Okay, you can. You're welcome to leave and come back. If you want. If you don't want to eat the food that's there, but it is. I did make sure that it was going to be decent food there. So that's what's going on. Okay, it's going to be so fun. We're going to have a great time. Lots of parking back here. Okay, and that is the plan. So here's the Greenville Shrine Club Center. Okay, here's the airport. Here's downtown Greenville. Okay, this is 85. Oh, here's the Greenville Spartanburg International Airport. Okay, they got 2 airports. Anyways, this is the...
Don't mind me.
I don't know which one you guys are flying to, but anyway, there's the airports. Downtown, 85, everything's pretty centrally located. So, yeah, should be fun. Who's going to be there? Freeman Fly, DITRH, Austin Whitsitt from Whitsitt Gets It. He's a Globebuster. He's going to be there. Nathan Thompson will be there. Brian Stavely, Richard Lopez, Rose 77, Authentic Intent, That Flat Fellow. Just so many, and so many others. Some other people, there's some people that are going to be there that even I don't know about. So,
the Truth Seeker 69.
I encourage you all to come and join us. Children are free to attend. If you want to bring your children tickets are free. Okay? So the address for the meetup Friday, October 23rd, is Herd Klotz Park, 126 Beverly Road, Greenville, South Carolina, from 4 to 9 p.m. Okay, and then after that, we can continue on or whatever. It's open. We're going to have a great time. I have lots of special surprises in store for you at the event. Can't wait to see y'all there. Cheers.
There you go. That's it. And then after that is just the regular promo for all the speakers and stuff. I'm sure y'all have watched that a whole bunch of times. I feel like everybody's sick of hearing me talk about Flattoberfest.
Nope, we're
No,
not sick
I
of
never
it.
been sick here.
And we want you to go ahead and do the speakers and the other part of it.
Okay.
Okay, let it keep running.
There will be a variety of presenters, including Mike Williams of sageofquayradio.com and Bob Nodell of Globebusters, as well as Jason Lindgren from Secrets of Saturn and the Crow 777 radio show. Also, we'll be joined by James True, as well as Mark Sargent. Also featuring an exhibit on how the world works, full of scientific tools and gadgets to help you visualize how the realm works, with electromagnetism as the driving force. Hosted by Cami Nodell and Zach Zabala. So join us for fellowship, conversation, and laughter at Flattoberfest 2020. Please go to flattoberfest.com to purchase tickets and to get info about the event. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. Come on, get out of the house while it's still legal.
I
Love Bigfoot at the end. That is so perfect.
Yeah. You know,
I know.
as soon as I saw that, I had to put it in there.
You have done a remarkable job of, in the midst of all of this craziness, making it happen. Karen B, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't wait to be there. I can't wait to do it. Everybody, I have a video also. Scuba Dracula did like last year's Flattoberfest. He made a journey on it that we might do that. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to cover? Do you guys want to do magnetics, or do you want to do another show with magnetics? What do our bitches want to do? We're over an hour into it.
I would prefer to do a little bit of research.
You'd prefer to do a little bit of research?
I would like to know a little bit about it first, like do some research, like you
Okay,
said
why don't I give you
We can do
guys...
an introduction to magnetics, and then
We could.
and then get deep. I mean, because that's a deep subject. We could do a series on that.
We could. We definitely could. What I think what we could do today is I'm just going to give you guys a little because I know last time I gave and Rose is probably hiding for it. Now Rose is like way into nerdy stuff, so she's not hiding because of it. But I gave chores for everybody to research different words, like diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic, dielectric, paraelectric, ferroelectric, and just to put it all together. And what I'm going to do is these are just all pieces of our magnetic field, and everything has got different properties to it. So, like for instance, a rock is either paramagnetic, ferromagnetic, or diamagnetic. And it's a way that we classify it. We classify everything into the system by the properties that it has, but it's the
Mhm.
permeability of magnets. And it's like how things react to it. So it's something that's very quite easy. If something is ferromagnetic, that's a static pattern there. These are actually culminated. So if something is ferromagnetic, it's very easy to think of that you can turn it into a magnet. So it either is a magnet or B, you can turn it into a magnet. So if you take a magnet and then you take a nail and you rub the nail on the magnet, and that nail is now a magnet and you can pick up things with it, that's ferromagnetic. Not so hard, right?
Right.
Right. It's a static pattern. When we think of static patterns that we see on it as far as a primer, if you think about if you took as a child filings and dropped them on a piece of paper and it stuck there and that's the layout that you got. Is everybody still following me?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that
So
was my homework.
that was your homework. So I'm doing some
Yeah.
of your homework for you. And so the
Okay.
ferromagnetic, it is part of the magnetic field and it is the static. It stays. When we look at our declination maps, this is a ferromagnetic pattern. Now, I say it stays overall. You'll have very slight graduations to the field. Things can change. An earthquake can happen. Little differences with temperatures and gradients can knock it off a little bit. So we do need to like remember our runways, which in aviation we do runways in that based on this. But this is your declination and your ferromagnetic pattern is simply between where you would like look to see the North Star and where your magnet is pointing you, where you're sitting on the map and where your magnet is pointing you, the difference that you need to turn would be your declination.
Hmm.
So there's no, in other words, we make these words very, very complicated, but they're not. So when you look at things with the ferrocell, you are seeing the ferromagnetic picture of it. And again, it's not moving. I once asked somebody that I think is quite brilliant. I was under a bent that if you could have a ferrocell, could you have a diacell and could you have a paracell? Like, could we look at, like we did the ferromagnetic fluid in there, Karen, and
Hmm.
that? What would happen if we did a paramagnetic fluid? What would we see? And I started doing a lot of work because I wanted to see what would we see. So I found out actually what would be a good thing to make ferrofluid out of, and it turned out to be, of all things, transmission oil from expensive cars that have copper tubing because the oil leaches out the copper, and you have this very, very high content in this discarded contaminated oil would be a good. So I was actually working on, and then I found out it was tricky because going to these shops that drain it, they they won't give it to you. They say no, we have to dispose of this in properly containers or whatever. We can't just give you it. So I'm working on this mission and I'm looking at the different fluids I can get and what I can make chemistry wise to test this. When I finally hit somebody I thought that was very smart, and I said, if I was to make a parasol, what would I see? And he said, well, I wouldn't go to so much trouble because all you'd see is the parafield is always in motion. And so all you'd see is after the initial swoosh of motion, a swoosh rotating, it would be over. So you would initially, when you hit it on there, if you're watching it for the split second that you do it, you would see the swish of motion. And we got into the conversation, the same with the dia field. So so I started thinking on your basic and again doing it. Well, if your ferro is your
Well,
static, go ahead. You have a what?
if Kellogg's cereal has iron in it, literally. So if you got Kellogg's cereal and mashed it all down and made it into some kind of a fluid thing that you're talking about, you could use that because
With the
I've
iron
seen
in
people
the
use magic. I've seen people use magnets and stuff and pull that out. You can see
You
it
would be
along
able
the
to do
bag.
that. Hmm. And you
Yeah.
can take a strong magnet and you can run your strong magnet. I have one here. You can run it into cereal, you can run it into sand, you can run it anywhere and pick up these little particles. It's in your
Mhm.
blood. We have components of everything in us. We have diamagnetic, we have paramagnetic, and we have
Yeah.
ferromagnetic.
Yeah,
All
but
of your
iron
elements.
is ferromagnetic,
Correct. See?
so that won't show the paramagnetic properties of the field.
Right. So you're so let's look at it this way. What would it look like if we did have tools that could pick up, because now we know that our para and our dia fields are both in motion. Now what do we know about our dia fields? Who had diamagnetic? Rose, anybody, anyone? Oh, if nobody claims it, I will. Diamagnetic.
I had ferroelectric.
Okay.
I had
Diamagnetic. Okay, we'll do paramagnetic. Diamagnetic, what we know about the diamagnetic and dielectric is it runs 90 degrees parallel to the inertial plane. On the magnetic, on the inertial plane, you're going to run 90 degrees angle and it's going to be a flow of energy and it's always going to be in motion. It follows the right hand rule. The right hand rule of electricity, the right hand rule of magnetism. Thank you, Karen. Yes, the right hand rule. So, and it's always, always going to be 90 degrees. What do we have that runs 90 degrees? What do we have? So it's like, what if there were tools that picked up this motion? What would they be like? I just got to wondering, and I was wondering if we could think about it with the girls, because I haven't talked about it much with the boys. But my thoughts would be maybe we do have a tool right now that's picking up that 90-degree energy flow. I would think that I would think that whatever we would have that would pick up and measure that flow would work exactly like an accelerometer. It's picking up the 90-degree flow straight up and down. It's what we're calling gravity, or what we're measuring as gravity. But as part of our field flow, if you just isolated that one motion, you would have something that
but look,
ran 90 degrees and that would be in motion and constantly
what
streaming down. Go ahead.
well, they want to stick something in our blood. Our blood is 98 degrees. Anyway, it's flowing, it's ever moving. And the
Hmm.
things that they want to put into the vaccine do these little dances and spins and stuff. And there's like this nano stuff.
Okay, with the nano stuff and spins, and in fact, somebody was talking about it. We're going to go back to your show, Beth, yesterday with it because I thought it was funny. I didn't go into it much, but we talked about how magnetism and fluorescence and many things are codependent on temperature. Not codependent, in other words, these are co-contributors. So in magnetics, what happens is with magnets, the colder it gets, the more effective the bond is. What is happening is these little, you can call them atoms, you can call them charges, you can call them whatever you want. Your plus negative charges that some people call, again, your atoms. But these things are in motion, and when you get the colder you get, the less they're like flies. You guys have had flies come into your house when it gets cold out and they can't fly. They slow down, right?
Hmm.
As this field gets colder, it doesn't vibrate as much, and when it doesn't vibrate as much, it stays more collimated, more in alignment, and it's stronger. So magnets get much stronger the colder they are. You can really, really amplify or augment magnetics by making them cold, chilling them. You can also weaken magnets by taking heat to them, and if you take enough heat to them, you can turn them off, and they're not magnets anymore.
That's the Curie temperature.
So that's the Curie temperature, the Curie point on it. That same basis works same with fluorescence and works with a lot of stuff in nature. So with it, instead of it being so complicated, what if we really were just that little up and down part of the field that we're picking up? What is that? What if that's what we're picking up? What if it's as simple as that 9.8 meters square that we're picking up per second? If that's just isolating the diamagnetic, dielectric portions of it that's running the right hand rule, part of the force in doing it. And maybe gravity is as simple as that. Do I know it is? No, but is it a possibility? Yes. And it's a possibility that I think I'd like to run by women before men, even that, because we have a grasp of common sense. Um, Men do too, but I mean, we do grasp we don't always try to overcomplicate things. maybe that was like I'm going to get myself in a lot of trouble for saying that one. But like with using the word, so I'm just saying paramagnetic. Whoever had paramagnetic and paraelectric,
I have paramagnetic.
you'll notice what kind of motion did your paramagnetic and your properties go? They should have been going always in a flowing motion. It's a rotating field.
Yeah,
So you
it's
could be. Go
well,
ahead.
it's about how other fields are less attracted to the stronger magnet.
Right. So it's a repulsive. This field tends to, paramagnetics tend to have a rotating field around. It's a rotating where your dia is going to be your 90 degrees because of a lot of the stuff when I sent you to look it up, you're going to be talking about the permeability and the reactions. Because usually where we come across this is when we're doing things like gemology and that where we're trying to tell one stone from another. And
Hmm.
so what we do is we learn about these properties and we learn about them in a practical sense that this is what you need to differentiate this from this. But do we
Hmm.
ever stop and say, why? What does that really mean? I never did. I mean, I went all of those years doing it. I took refractive indexes. Is it singular refractive, doubly refractive? What's the specific gravity? What's the polarity of the object? What I mean, what are these properties? I sat there, and all of my life I have sat there and I've written down, I've tested things for these properties, but I never stopped and said, what are these properties and what do they mean in reality? Not just, I know that I know how I can test for them, but what do they really mean? And I think when we're looking at these things, what they really mean is what really happens in reality more than equations and more than all the fancy stuff in the book that you can determine how to test for. And a lot of the things that we're looking for, if you were looking for a paramagnetic type of look, what would you be looking for? Like I said, your dropping of your filings would, be your ferromagnetic, your ferrocell, your diamagnetic would probably be your accelerometer or your gravity or anything that's measuring that straight up and down field. But your paramagnetic, I would think that we would look at that and think of sidereal time. I would think we would think of what the motion is, the field, the rotational part of the field. And so, what might pick something like that up? To me, something that measures how light goes around, like perhaps a fiber optic gyro or something similar to that that is registering how it goes along. And so, I almost think that we might have our answers right in front of us and we're looking past them. And it was just the thought of, ladies, and does this make sense to you? And what are your thoughts on it? Hello, hello. This is the look of fear that they said I would get for
I, lo-
approaching this.
I love you guys. I mean, this is it's funny because I'm sitting here and I'm like everything Cammy's saying I've heard it before and I'm like, yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And everybody's just like, I feel like you guys are falling asleep.
All right, let's go back to Flattoberfest and we can do magnetics later.
I, I
This
all I
is
can say
the
for
thing.
myself is I need to do my homework. I didn't
Okay,
do
well,
it, and I would
Yeah,
have to do it.
just look at the field. Look at the field on my screen. Look at and when she
I'm going to put Karen's screen up. Hold on.
if you look at this, when you got to take that comment
Oops, I
off.
have to. I don't know how to. Where is it? I put it up so. Aha. You know what? I think I can do it another way.
Anyway, if you look at the field and you listen to what she's describing, it's all the motions all in one. Each one all of them work together in cohesion to create that field, to create that infinite motion, that circular turning. One is turning, one is going in, one is going out, and all that stuff. Like it's all working together to create that synchronous motion there, and all of it. You know, it's hard to explain. How do you make it simple, Cammy? How do you make it simple?
Now this is the beauty of it, Karen. That's exactly right. Now Karen did study, but Karen's a cheat because Cammy lives next to Karen, and Cammy lived at Karen's house for over a month. So Poor Karen could not, even though you guys can look frightened and run, Karen had nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. She got pulled on Cami for a month, and she still gets over there. We pull out the magnets of ourselves. Karen, look at this. This is what's neat about our community is we all have our passions and our strengths. And thank you for letting me in with the group because mine is like one of the most stranger passions, but I can't help it. I mean, you guys all understand how passions work, what lights you up, what you want to know. This is mine. So I won't feel guilty for it. I've had people that want me to feel guilty that say everybody needs to be either like out protesting or out. Everybody needs to. I hate it when people say everybody needs to be doing what's important to me. I don't
Yeah.
think everybody needs to be doing what's important to me, though I like you guys having little glimpses of it. But I think what makes us so strong is we all go with what's important to us. If you find what's important to you, that's where you're going to make the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
well, it's because
truly.
you're attracted to it. You're attracted
Mhm.
to the what makes you tick like that and everything. And for me, it's like it's doing these YouTubes and live streams and stuff and figuring out what the truth is and gravitating towards the truth
yeah.
and moving towards it
Mhm.
ever expanding my awareness because my awareness has been stunted this whole time. And I never had an original thought in my life. So it's like I thought I was learning before. I mean, I'm on a whole new level now. We all are, and it's just amazing. And when you attract other people and you feel that energy flow, and they're trying to keep that from us, it's just
Mhm.
you
See,
know,
but the good thing though about electromagnetism and all this stuff is it sounds complicated and there's a lot of big words attached to what it is,
But
but
it's not.
really it's just it's just the balance of life. It's just common sense.
It's
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 just equilibrium. It's giving and it's taking. It's finding that balance through everything, and then it's also attached to the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio and all that stuff. All of that stuff is very closely intertwined with electromagnetism. These numbers that you find in it, the twisting and turning, like when a plant grows, it twists and it turns, like you see the time lapse of the plant, right? The time lapse of the plant is doing this, right? And they say, oh, the plant
yeah,
is following the sun, and maybe it does follow the sun, but the sun is driven by an electromagnetic field. The plant is growing in a Fibonacci spiral. It's turning around and it's popping out a leaf here and there, and it follows that 1 1 3 2 5 or 1 1 2 3 5 8, all that pattern of the Fibonacci sequence, right? And it just all works beautifully. It is the fingerprint of the creator. And here's the thing, you don't even have to know any sort of mathematical equation. You don't have to know, you know, uh, anything like that. You don't have to do any complicated math because it's not about um, it's not about a finite number. It's just about harmony. It's just about things working together. That's all it is. It's symbiosis. It's
It reminds me of
harmony. It's everything. It's there's nothing technical about it. It's and it's like you go back to like a theory apotheosis when he says that, Mother Nature, she's like got hairy armpits, hippie chick in the woods, right? She's not measuring shit out. She doesn't have a scale. She doesn't have a calculator. Okay, everybody wants to like punch the numbers and go, oh, does this work out? Okay, maybe sometimes when a plant grows, it doesn't exactly do follow the sequence exactly, but it does follow it close enough to know that that is the ratio, or the just the way things happen, the spiral of life that works harmoniously, that allows these plants to grow in such a way that they have leaves spread out so that the sun can hit each leaf, right? They're all, if you look down, there's a leaf here, a leaf link, like a leaf here, and a branch here, and a branch there, right? And they're all spread out so that when the sun comes over, each leaf can get that sun, right? And it does that because it grew in a spiral. It's just following the fingerprint of the creator. And so, when Cami puts all these words to it, I know it sounds all crazy, and sometimes even me. Like I was watching these videos, and I had the dictionary app out, and I had my notebook out, and I was taking notes, and I would have to go back and think about it and read the words again, you know, until I got used to hearing these words. And so now it's not as intimidating for me anymore. But once I got past all that, I just kind of went back to the first place I was. You can understand it without having to know all these terms, because if you look around, nature shows it to you, and you see it in yourself, and you see it just everywhere. And then it just sort of makes sense. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Totally. Hey, I was going to jump in with something that I help people to release emotions or programs or feelings or thoughts that come up. And one of the things that was co-discovered by two people back in the 50s, Lester Levinson and something Hawkins, David Hawkins, is the way that emotions work and the energy frequency of them is seen to be kind of a ladder where you're stepping up, say, from the lowest emotion of apathy and shame up. One step up is grief, up from there is fear, lust, anger, pride, courage, acceptance, peace. So peace is here, apathy was down here. And by working with it, what I realized is that it is actually found in nature. I can find this in myself. It's not just memorizing it and then applying this theory. That's actually how it happens. You can watch a kid work their way up from apathy, and next thing you know, they're grieving, and then they're afraid, and then they're wanting, and then they're angry, and then they're in pride, and all of a sudden they'll pop into courage. Like, you can literally see this in nature. And I'm wondering, Cami, if this is a property, because what I discovered is it's not a ladder up, it's actually a spiral, right? Because as soon as you're up at up at peace, your next level is apathy again. You're as if in that back low energy, but it's not this level of apathy, it's this level of apathy, if that makes any sense. And I wonder if it is somehow tied in with magnetics, the whole Fibonacci and spiral and everything like that, that's working at the level of the emotions.
Fibonacci and the spiral and the magnetism is tied into everything. It's tied in more ways than you know. I mean, it patterns. It's a fractal. It's a fractal that repeats itself in so many ways, and in so many different ways of looking at it. But you're right. Even taking your emotions, you can spiral, and spiral is a very important word. One of the things you look at when you look at how things work. With using the words Karen, you were a wordsmith. You were channeling. If anybody could have said it better, I don't think so. On what it's like, as far as like the magnets and things, it's not the words. I mean, my learning is not from the words, and this is why, like at Flattoberfest, I'm excited for what I'm going to be doing. I have like giant. That's why I have to get up. They can't be very close. I have like giant magnets in my hand. I'm not learning through words. I'm learning, and then I'm looking for the words to describe what I'm learning, if that makes sense. And it's a different, I'm trying to learn differently, feel how the magnets react after, see what they produce as far as patterns, see what's out there, matching it up. And then you have to, check from what you're seeing and match it up with sometimes. So I would say that the guys understand, match it up with the right words so they have a clue of what we're doing. We can almost operate without words in a way, and that's where I don't want you guys to get scared, because it's not. I mean, they're big words and you throw them out and they're complicated, but the thing about it is it's not. It's how things grow, it's how things work, it's how life creates. It is the beauty of it all, and it's all around us. And I'm sorry, for the people that are boring, I'm holding it. It's like I'd be fascinated forever. The power I feel between my hands right now, like even with the
Yeah.
pillars.
Well, you
It's a
know,
feeling. When you get here, Jen, I'm going to put magnets in your hand. I'm going to take a
Can't
CRT
wait.
screen and some different things and feel it and see that it's something that we need more looking into with child's eyes, not with eyes that know all of the right words, but with
Well,
eyes that
you know,
look for how it really works.
Don't people wear those magnetic bracelets and they say it helps them, their field around them and stuff, and it gives a healing property to it and stuff like that. And I've had these magnets down on my fridge that they repel each other and stuff, and it's pretty cool.
You
I love
have
this stuff.
plants grow better. Yeah, you have plants that are they're shown to grow a lot better, be more abundant when you treat the seeds to a magnetic field. All kinds of things going on. We could go on for hours and hours with it, but you know what? We're at an hour and a half. We're about out of time. So I think I'm going to take us around the table one more time. See if anybody. I'm going to put my magnets down so I don't explode them. Magnets coming together. Hold on, I'm gonna actually get up and walk this one away. These are some of the bigger ones. But the trick to it all is, Karen, and I think is learning how to say and show it without an easier way to do it because it's not so. Again, when you're used to it, it's not complicated. It's really is quite beautiful and it feels quite natural. And that's what feels so right about it is the flow of it is the yin and the yang. The fact that they're never going to be able to create a monopole. But no. Watching our physicists and our things working on creating a monopole. For those that want to know why you cannot create a monopole, watch Beth Martin's channel. What was the name of the show again yesterday, Beth?
You're testing me.
Something
Let's see.
about,
You're
I know.
testing me.
I should know. I just, something about a cosmology with me and Beth.
Yeah, let me look it up quickly.
But
And
anyway, just think about, okay, if you look at anything with the golden ratio, okay, here, these calipers right here are golden ratio calipers, right? Okay, so this is the 1.16, 1 to 6.618, right? So
perfect.
this is the 1 and this is the 0.618, right? It's like the most attractive way to divide a whole, right, which is not evenly split, but this is the most attractive way to divide something that is whole, right, into pieces. And so if you look, I love doing, you see, your eyes right there, fall right there in that ratio line, right? Because that's where it is the most attractive way to divide that. And then it even, you can put it on your point, right? Okay, it's hard for me to do it because I'm looking at myself reversed. But if you look at this, think about it when you look at a tree, right? If you look at a tree, you know, this will be the trunk of the tree, and this would be the part that is leafed out and bushy, right? You have that divide. You'll see it, right? If you look at an egg, if you put an egg next to this, right, where this line falls, that's where the egg starts to get wider at the bottom and narrower at the top, right? Or I guess it would be this way: the wide part would be at the bottom, and the narrow part would be the higher end. Okay, but this ratio, you'll find it in absolutely everything. And it doesn't have to be exact, but you can kind of get an idea of how that divides, and just start looking at everything around you, and you'll start to see that things naturally divide in that ratio. And in fact, if you listen to music, if you listen to the timeline of your favorite song, right, when the song is playing, okay, the song starts here. Let me see if I could do it so that it looks right on screen. So if the song starts here and the song is playing, and every song, it has at a part, just past the middle, where it sort of crescendos, where you have like a bridge or a climax part of the song, that tends to fall at this point in the total length of the song. you know they'll have the beginning part and the build up and the crescendo, and then it starts to go towards the end. So in music, in nature, in our bodies, in the way other creatures' bodies are formed, it'll start to be everywhere. And then you'll start to, if you just start to just notice that,
then you'll start to get a feel and understanding for what it is.
Karen, that is beautiful. I want that toy on our table for the, that, yeah, that
I'll
has
bring
to
it.
come along with the tuning fork. Any of the things that you have in your arsenal, definitely they want to be on our how that works because Karen has got a lot of definitely harmonics, what she's talking about, the way the resonance lays out, that's everything. That's the stuff creation is made out of. We see the resonance, we see the harmonics, the ratios. When you're talking about taking off the esophageal scale and putting onto what they did with music or what we'll call digital, they took it off of the analog, the natural fractal of going up, and they normalized it to make it easier for digitally them to process. They took it, because again, the natural does not increment so nicely. It increments perfectly, but it does not increment mathematically um, nicely for them to work with in computer and digital land. So again, it's something else that they've taken us away from analog into digital, and they've messed up with what we should see as the harmonics, the resonance, and the true fractal nature of the way everything works. It's incredible stuff. It's a beautiful. You see it with flowers growing. You see it in fire. You see it in everything. You see it in crystals. The other thing we're going to talk about with Theoria, by the way, for those that watch, is one of his. Even though he is talking about nature, being a hippie, and he's right, not knowing the words. The other thing you will hear him say a lot is his nature does not draw in straight lines. And I'd like to clarify that as somebody that watches crystals grow and things like that. What I think he means, I'm going to interpret, and I'm sure this is what he means with it. When he says it doesn't draw in straight lines, he means nature does not ever take a line here and draw a line like this. We do have a lot of straight lines in nature, but in nature, it grows like that. It's a starting point and it goes out this way. So for those that say, like, again, no straight lines, and that in nature, nature produces them all of the time in perfection. In fact, the straighter the lines, the more columnated, the more magical the properties tend to be on it. So the straight lines happen. So one of your things that I'd ask you all to learn today is reconsider and just think out when it draws in a straight line, just to see how nature really does take it geniusly and pull it out from both sides. Just a lot more natural than we do. We take and we with technology always imitate nature, but we don't ever do it as gracefully or as cleanly or as efficient. Absolutely beautiful, Karen B.
So I found the name of the video.
Oh,
It's Finding Your Place in Uncommon Cosmology. So I'm not sure
finding
what
your
that related
place.
to. In
Beth Martin's
uncommon,
channel, Finding Your Place in Uncommon Cosmology. That was a perfect show for our title for the show that we did. And
oh
so,
good.
any of you guys that wanted to go into some of the technicals on that, we did cover some of it on her show. We had a great time doing it. I couldn't have enjoyed it anymore. And you
It
guys,
was
thank you
awesome.
for like letting us go in this direction. Karen,
Totally a pleasure.
I feel like I've corrupted you, even like you were bad before, and I love it. I love that I have a nerd girl to play with.
You
She might out
totally
nerd me
corrupted
pretty soon.
me.
I mean, she really, with the rocks and things like that, she might even out nerd me before this is all going. And oh, so much love for
Have
her
you
energy.
seen my back steps?
I have seen your back steps. She is covered entirely with rocks, with crystals. With her house is so, it's amazing. The energy of your house has got to be
It is, but
so
check it out.
elevated.
This is another cool thing. Look at the
Oh,
seashell.
Look
beautiful.
at the
Oh,
seashell.
good
It's going to go up to
example.
everything. Let me bring her up big. Hold on.
Nice. Nice.
Karen, give me
That's
a
a
minute. There we go. The perfect example of it.
yeah, right up my mermaid alley.
Right up the mermaid. The seashell, any of your vegetables, your eggs, your
Yeah.
life.
I
Life.
mean, you can see the spiral this
Mm-hmm.
way.
All
Yeah, beautiful.
in fractal beauty. Again, we can mimic and we don't ever come close to matching the true beauty of how it all comes and grows.
Yeah, love
All
it.
right. All right. Let's do a quick roundabout. We're going to start with you, Beth, and say what you have coming up and any questions or that, and just a nice way to finish the show. Go ahead. You're on.
Yeah, thanks, Cami. That was scary that this is an introduction to magnetism, so now I have to go back and watch again. and
It's fun though. If it's not fun learning, if it's not drawing you, that's okay. You go in the direction that does draw and ask questions on anything that does. Wait until it grabs your passion, Beth.
I
Don't
just
feel
needed
guilty.
to go way slower, so I'll have to get you for a one-on-one to do this, I think. But
I love the one-on-ones again with the basic questions. Those are the best.
right on. Very good. And so this week, actually, I'm pretty excited. Tomorrow, I've got a very controversial interview coming up. If you guys are familiar with the Proud Boys and the trouble that they've got into, that Trump told them from the presidential debates to, what was it? Stand back and stand by. And so they were involved in the Portland riots as well with the Antifa and coming under some fire. If you Google the Proud Boys, it actually calls them a fascist organization, a white supremacist fascist organization. But from what I understand, it couldn't be further from the truth. And we have a local chapter here. I approached them and I said, "Oh, you look like a bunch of King heroes. Does anyone want to do an interview?" And at first they were like, "No." And then they looked into my channel and they said, "Yes, we do." And so it's going to be 3 p.m. Central tomorrow on Beth Martin's, on here on YouTube and on Facebook. And so it's going to be pretty interesting. They're going to apparently stream it to one of their main platforms that gets a lot of traffic, and they said to expect conflict in the process. So if any of you are free to come and help navigate and moderate, then we'll see how that goes. If they're actually going to do it live or just upload it, I'm not totally certain. But they said watch out. And then Bernard Gunter is coming on Friday at noon Central Time. So I've been waiting for that for a long time, and he just out of the blue got back to me. So we set a date and look forward to having you there if you want to join me.
That sounds wonderful. Everybody go in and support her in the chat with the angry people. Bring some good, happy energy. Show
Yeah.
them what we're made of. Help each other out.
Yeah, Beth's got great interviews on her channel. Seriously.
Oh, thanks, Karen.
Really.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
I mean, it's really important the stuff you talk about because I mean the psychological effect of everything that's gone on and the so many people and people have been put in a place where they've just been so downtrodden and they got to pull themselves out. Nobody can pull them out except for themselves. And what you're doing is helping people do that. It's freaking great. That's so important. It's very important work.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah, it certainly inspires the hell out of me, and I get good feedback. We need to see the strong people out there. We need to see how they roll, because as soon as you wake up in the morning and your face is on the floor, and that happens a lot, right? It is a very strange world to wake up in. Then you can watch somebody else be on their game, and it reminds me, oh yeah, I'll get back on my game. What the heck?
Now, I'd like to see, this is selfish on my part, but I'm sometimes selfish. I'd like to see a King's Hero interview with who I think is a hero, and that would be my husband.
Yes,
I think
he's
he's one
absolutely
of
on my list. He's been on my list. I
this.
was listening to him today, trying to wrap my head around stuff. But yeah.
He puts a lot of energy, he puts a lot of faith, he puts a lot of himself into everything he can. And I will put it out there that I would like to see that as a King's journey, because he's had quite a journey, and I really think uh, I'm proud of him. I'm really proud of my husband.
Yeah, absolutely. He's next on my list for sure.
For those who don't know who that is, and I'm sure everybody does, that would be Bob from Globebusters. Just
Yeah,
thinking
Bob's awesome. Way back in 2015, 5 years ago, when I first got into this, and I watched Bob's interview with Patricia Steer, and that was huge for me. I remember that interview was huge for me because I had already been looking into stuff. I'd been questioning things, and I was seeing the points that were being brought up in videos. but when you watch a produced video, and there was really not very much live streams back then, it's you're still able to sort of somehow, rationalize yourself out of thinking that this is something worth looking into, it that there's the validity to it. And so when I saw Bob's interview with Patricia, it humanized it, it made it real. It made it, I saw two normal, intelligent people having a conversation about this subject that nobody in the past had been allowed to speak about, in a serious manner as far as I had ever seen. So that was a huge thing for me. So definitely, I agree that Bob has played a very important role in this, especially for me to see, you know, him speak intelligently about these things and eloquently, and with the technical knowledge, the physics knowledge, all that stuff is hugely important, you know, because people hold so much value in these degrees that people have, and for him to be able to dismantle that, that's huge, huge.
It is. It's and for again, just again to touch the feel and no, there's other people out there. That's how I felt when you came on there too, as a mother, and with your energy coming in, Karen. When you did early on, you know that we gravitated right towards you for a lot of the same reason that he's showing a very scientific side, and you were showing the family and how it affected life in general. And again, we need all of the pieces. We need every what we all do is important, and every single piece,
Hmm.
big or small, brings so much. And again, if it's just out there talking to somebody at the supermarket and explaining one on one, it matters and it counts.
That's right.
Yeah, it's my
Steffi,
whole platform.
yes.
I was just going to quickly say it's my whole platform that if everybody out there would just do the thing in them that they're passionate about, this would be a completely different world. We just all do what God tells us. And if it's about magnets, or it's about flat earth, or it's about archetypes, or whatever your fascination is, or whatever you're called to, then we would not basically be controlled by anything except our purpose.
Exactly right.
That's my speech.
And it's a good channel to have. It's perfect. Steffi P, what do you have going on, my darling? What's coming up for you?
I hope this is real. Does that look real?
Ooh.
It looks
Oh,
like
yeah, we
selenite.
can tell just like here. It does look like selenite from here. What
Yeah,
do you
it's
think it
Yeah,
is?
selenite.
the selenite tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's pretty powerful.
It looks real from here.
Gorgeous.
If it feels, does it feel? Put it up against your
Yeah,
cheek. Tell me, does it feel nice and cool and
yeah.
instead of plasticky?
No,
Care.
definitely not. I've learned the hard way with that. This definitely actually came from somebody who I know is very knowledgeable about this. So I know I was kind of joking. It just looks different, but it's definitely real.
Yeah.
For people that spend much time around me, because people have a tendency to hand me things and say, "Is this real? Is this not real? What is this?" And they'll see me and I'm touching things up to my face a lot. Um, Kind of a crazy little thing to do, but for people on practical knowledge, take a piece of glass in your room and hold it up to your cheek and see what happens. Then take a crystal and hold it up to your cheek and see what happens. Take a piece of plastic, hold it up to your cheek and see what happens. Leave them all on like in the same temperature without in your pockets and that, and feel they have very different feels to them. The way they culminate energy, the way that they react, the way that they run energy. You can just again tell something crystalline by touch. With that said, Karen B, who is looking at wondering if she has some amber. Amber is not crystalline. You will not expect it to be cool to the touch. So do not think your amber is fake if it's not cool.
Yeah, that was actually Carla Red Pill on Facebook. She's been buying jewelry from these estate sales, and she thought she had amber. But I looked in the picture, and just from the picture, it didn't look like amber to me because I was seeing those growth patterns, those crystalline growth patterns.
You're not going to have amber is resinous. Amber is not crystalline. You're not going to have crystalline growth patterns in it. Instead, you're going to have swirls, things that you would see more in plastic and glass. You're going to have things caught in it, like insects and pieces of fern and different things that are
And
inside of
bubbles.
it, and bubbles and that. Things that, in other words, the same things that you would look at this and say, this isn't real. Amber's going to if you have this stuff going on in amber, then it's not real amber. Is probably them faking it because it's not a crystalline. It is a fossilized resin. So your best test for amber is taking a hot point, taking even a flame with a lighter, a point, and touching it to a small hidden spot like where they drill the hole, and if it's amber, you're going to get a really nice pine resinous. When I said resinous, everybody was thinking weed resin. It will be, it will smell like resin, but it won't smell like pot resin. It'll smell more like a nice pine resin, and it'll have this wonderful sweet smell, like you would almost make an incense to smell. The things that you use to bake out amber, usually Bakelite and things like that, have very acrid plastic thing to it. So if you wanted to test amber, find a hidden place on it, and hot pointing it and going for that feel, there would be one of your best ones. They do have reconstituted amber where you take a lot of it and put it together as a melt and you'll get that reaction. But you can look at it. It does not look like it was formed that way. It looks like it was reconstituted. It's a feel. And you get a feel for these, Karen. So that wasn't yours, that was somebody else's. But yeah, that was a fun Facebook chat.
Yeah, but I could see in the pictures though that they it had the little like bubble crystal growth patterns, which is
Mm-hmm.
in like chalcedony,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that
Chalcedony.
chalcedony,
Chalcedony.
I don't
Yeah.
chalcedony, whatever.
Chalcedony.
But that stuff, which is like I don't know if that's like it's a type of agate or
Agate,
quartz
yeah.
agate or yeah, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, that's what I was seeing.
Right, and that is a crystalline material, so that's not going to be amber. That could be, again, a feldspar, an agate, a different quartz. Fun, fun stuff. Love it.
I'm such a nerd now.
Bunch of nerds. Now, for those who don't know, my background is in Gem ID. So what I did for a living for over 30 years is I sat with equipment, pieces, things that would be, it happens to play well into flat earth because I have my own refractometer polariscope um, combo that I've had for over 30 years along with other things because you check when differentiating the same properties we're looking for with how it works. They're the properties of everything around us. And so when talking, I will forget that I've had like a lifetime of experience, more than a lifetime of experience with working with the equipment. I forget that nobody, everybody else didn't live in my own little room with me. But so always stop me on terms if they don't make sense because this stuff is not hard. It's just if you're familiar with it or not. And so being difficult and being not familiar are two totally different things.
Okay, so tomorrow, I mean, maybe not tomorrow, tomorrow or the next day, we have a little bit, Brian and I have a little bit more material to share from like the last few times we were out. Mostly going over some of the stuffs about the restaurants reopening in LA area, Ventura County, and then a few other little topics of research. So it should be not a very long show. We don't have tons of footage, but I'm sure there'll be call-ins tomorrow or the next day. Just wanted to say.
Excellent. People do call in. Now we are Jen, the truth seeker. Tell us what you got coming on.
Well, over the next couple of days, Steve and I are going to continue to dismantle his story. And I'm going to do a show with him on his channel probably tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. He's off tomorrow and Tuesday. And Tuesday, we'll do a show on my channel, and I'm going to cover more of the trees, the giant trees versus the melted buildings. A lot of people are trying to figure that whole thing out and how that plays in. And I do see a lot of things that do look like they could be tree stumps, and I see a lot of things that are melted buildings as well. So yeah, look for me on Steve JMO's channel tomorrow night, most likely, or it could be my channel. We're going to reverse it. I don't know. It's Monday or Tuesday, but I am going live on my channel. and it's going to be a lot of exciting information. I just feel like we're making a breakthrough here, and where we go from here, who knows? So make sure you tune in.
Everybody keep stepping forward. That's all we can do is making it happen. Karen, you have Flattoberfest coming up. You've talked about it.
Oktoberfest. That's right, y'all. That's what I got going on.
We're going to.
I'm
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just preparing for Oktoberfest for the rest of the week. I've got a few days. Oh my gosh. I've got a few days before we even start going into the venue. So yeah, 6 days and it's going to be happening. Oh my goodness.
Get your tickets now, flaptoberfest.com. I can't wait to see people there.
Yeah, there's going to be a solid 300 people there for sure. 300. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Amazing, you guys.
I knew it would fill up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That
what
is
happens if more than 300 want to come? Didn't you say that you can only fit 300 in there?
Oh, no, if it goes a little okay, because the normal capacity for the venue is like 1,200, okay? And so even 50% capacity of that is 700, right? So no, we're not gonna max out capacity, um, but there's gonna be a solid 300 people there. We're gonna sell tickets at the door. There's an ATM inside, right inside the lobby or the front doors of the place if you come and you don't have cash. But if you wanna come in and you don't have a ticket, you're gonna have to bring cash at the door because 'cause we're not gonna have any other way to get you to sell
right.
a ticket there.
There will be the ATM that you can do it and pay for the cash. The tickets, I believe, they're $80, but we don't know
Mhm.
if we're going to have enough patches for the people that don't buy. If you buy a ticket on the website, you get a patch.
Yeah.
You can take
If you
Visa.
buy the ticket ahead of time, you for sure will get a patch because I have a limited number of patches. But outside of that, you know, it's open.
I think I just heard Bob say you guys will take a visa.
Yeah, I have Bob in the background saying that if we needed to, we could run Visa on a Square machine and do it. But I do think that with the ATM machine, it might be easier. It might be hard to, track that down. Karen, you're on mute.
Yeah, I know. I was
Okay.
muted. I was
Oops, I
talking to
mean,
my daughter.
oh,
I
that's a
was like,
lot.
I'm on line right now. Give me
Wave to
5
everybody, Bob.
minutes.
We have Bob in a wave. Oh, he's right there on
Hi,
the side.
Bob.
Hey, Bob.
We got him
I'm
in the background. He's
What
going to
did you
be.
say, Bob?
Bob told.
Hi.
He says hi. He says that if we really needed to, and we can talk about that later, if we had a desperate situation with a visa, we could probably come up with a setup. We have a setup to do that. But I
Okay,
didn't know
I
if we.
don't.
I know that if they have an ATM machine there, it would be probably easier the other way. But again, if anybody is desperate on there, come see and we'll see what we can do. I
Yeah,
would rather, yeah, I would rather if they could do the ATM. I think just as far as the ease of doing the transactions and that. We're doing a lot of people through the door. We want to concentrate on having fun, not working with equipment that goes down because.
exactly. Exactly.
So keep it simple. I think I've got everybody. Did I forget anybody at all? We have Rose.
No,
We're missing Rose. That's why it feels so
missing Rose.
empty.
We miss you,
Rose,
Rose.
we
Rose
miss you,
and
Rose.
Jason will be at Flattoberfest though, and
Good.
they're in Florida helping. They're working on some documentary about terrain theory, so that's really awesome. They're doing great work right now. So
Yep.
we miss you, Rose, but we know that it's for a good cause.
You're doing
And,
God's work.
and we know
Yes,
that we're going to see you soon. And I know that I'm going to wheel you down and take you to the river when you're here. I cannot wait. Rose is coming. Rose is coming to town. Party on.
hmm
Um, on this note, what I think I'm going to do is Scuba Dracula made a wonderful little video that was just his journey to Flattoberfest last year with pictures of the crowds and things that happened last year. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it a night, and we're going to just leave it with a nice video of last year's Flattoberfest, and we hope to see everybody that can be there this year. And thank you everybody for joining. Thank you panel. And Bitches Brew is where in 2 weeks?
Good point. Rose keeps track of it. I'm not sure.
Actually, I think it was going to be my turn if it wasn't your turn, so I think it might be my channel next, actually.
I almost believe I'm sure that's what it was too because
I think.
I snuck in on this one. And if we have to change it, we do. You guys come and find us. It's a special group, and I'm really really happy to be a part of it. So
And it
so
definitely won't be next Sunday because that's the Sunday after Flattoberfest. It's going to be the Sunday after that.
right, I might need a little bit of a break on it, but support your bitches. Be there. Okay, I think we're ready to fight. Good night, everybody. Peace.
Thanks so much,
Good
Kemi and Bob.
night.
I'm stalking you, Bob, by the way.
And that's a wrap. Good night, everybody.